So the Google Ads API has massively improved in the last couple of years, actually really in the last 6 months. I would never be doing this video ordinarily. I'm a marketer, and the Google Ads API used to be something that was really only accessible for developers. And like you would never have any marketers talking about this. I'm not the most technical person in the world, but I'm using the Google Ads API every day for myself, the software that I'm building, and for a lot of other agencies that I do consulting for as well. It's really impressive what they're doing, and I'm just going to tell you everything about it. First of all, what is the Google Ads API? It's not the user interface you see when you log into Google Ads. The API allows you to grab absolutely everything from your Google Ads account, every metric, every dimension, all of the reports in Google Ads. It's an incredibly powerful API. And it used to require a developer, but now with the rise of AI models, you can connect this API. So all of power, you can connect that directly to an AI model now, and you can speak in plain English, and you can say, hey, I have a connection now to the Google Ads API. I want to accomplish this task within Google Ads. You have this incredibly powerful thing over here. Can we bridge the gap? And that gap has really been bridged now. And this is actually on Google's own website. You can see they're talking about the Google Ads API here. It helps you and your developers create applications that can download reports, make changes to your ads accounts at scale, automatically make improvement to your Google Ads accounts at scale. So this is on Google's website. This is clearly showing what the use cases of the API can be. It's to help advertisers ultimately. And I love that Google's going in this direction. They're just giving us more and more tools to improve ad performance. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. There's three things that changed everything. So first of all, a few months ago, October 2025, Google released the Explorer Access tier. So that grants you access instantly if you have an MCC account, which is like a manager account in Google Ads. You don't even need to apply. You don't need to wait for any reviews. So that's a massive change. You get 2,800 free API calls every single day. So like if you're in-house, working in agency, it's probably going to be more than enough for you to achieve what you want to achieve. And you can see here, these are all the access levels and permissible use. You need to apply for some of the, if you're using the API to do a lot of work, you need to actually make an application because, Google doesn't want anyone to just come along and kind of abuse the API in that way. But this free access means that absolutely everyone can come in and actually play with it. There's been so many developments from the Google Ads team the last few months. They have a plug and play MCP. So again, you can connect like your favorite AI tool, Gemini, Claude, whatever, directly to your Google Ads data, and you can query that data. So, the MCP is like a middleman, and you can actually talk to your Google Ads data through these AI tools, which is really cool. So this is kind of like the new concept. I mean, this is like the kind of vibe coding thing. You've probably heard a lot of hype about this, but the hottest new programming language is English. I have never been able to code. I don't consider myself a developer. I'm fortunate enough to work with a very, very confident technical developer at ppc.io. So I rely on him for all things technical, but I think I'm quite good at being able to at least explain some of these concepts from a non-technical perspective. And I mean, there was really like 3 eras, I think, of Google Ads. The manual UI era, or Google Ads Editor, which is still, by the way, very, very powerful. And there's a lot of, third-party tools that were developed during the API era. So like really amazing tools. But now we're into kind of like the AI era where we're combining the power of Google Ads API. And now marketers are actually starting to do cool stuff. Like anyone who can type or dream of what they want to do with the API can actually do it now. And I think, this is a really cool direction. And Google is consciously going in this direction. Again, I'm going to just explain it in more detail. So like this is the Google Ads query language. So they actually have their own language here. It reads like English, and like you can run these queries using AI models. You don't even have to necessarily understand this language, because you can talk in plain English, and with AI, you don't even have to write it yourself. So you can see here at the bottom, you can see like, show me all the campaigns in this account or maybe multiple accounts where the cost is high, conversions are zero. And it's just this like really efficient way of pulling that information from Google Ads because it's a very complex API. Now, this is what Google has shipped in the last 6 months. So October the 7th, they released their MCP server. October last year, they did the Explorer access tier, which was huge. They've released this developer assistant. So like, this is actually, I'll pull it up here. There's a kind of what is page. So they have this, the Google Ads API developer assistant. It's not a chatbot, it's a mission control system for advertising engineering. So like, Google is just going all out on this stuff and giving technical teams, but even, I mean, mostly technical teams, the ability to leverage the API in more powerful ways. They're saying it's one of the most powerful, but also one of the most complex APIs available. So the idea behind the Google Ads API developer assistant is that you can figure out how to use the Google Ads API. You know, you can use natural language and ask the Google Ads API concepts. You know, what are the available campaign types? Tell me about reporting for Performance Max campaigns. So if you are, say you're an in-house developer working at an agency and you want to build some really cool tools in-house to help the performance of your agency, you can do this now much more easily than you ever could before by using this assistant. And this is live. This is on GitHub. This is on Google Ads' own public GitHub. And so you can just go and pull this and play with this. So I think that's really an interesting development. They're launching now, they're making releases to the Google Ads API every month. So they're just doing so much more. There's now actually like a community as well. So we're seeing like, I think it was just a week, 10 days ago, they launched a kind of DevCast podcast. Now there's kind of a Google Ads liaison that I follow on LinkedIn called Corey Luceno. So he's actually like hosting the podcast. But I just love the fact that, you know, you have the public GitHub, you have people like Corey, you have the YouTube channel. It's almost like they're doing more of a public push. Like you can actually see more of the team and the faces behind Google Ads. It's kind of like almost like a build public thing. They're just really sharing more about what's going on behind the scenes of Google Ads. And yeah, it's just a really interesting push. And I don't see any other app platforms yet going in this direction. I think it's such a smart thing for Google to do. There's even a Discord channel. Like I'm actually in the Discord. There's a lot of conversations in there, but they released their own public Discord channel. So clearly they want to connect with the community as well. They want to understand what people are building. So yeah, there's just a very clear shift is the point I want to get across between a couple of years ago where the Google Ads API was this thing that you had to apply for. It was really, it was tucked away for experienced developers only. Now it's way more accessible. So yeah, very clear shift. Why is Google doing this? And I think, and this is a quote from Corey, you know, he said, we're seeing a world where agents, not just humans, are becoming the primary consumers of our APIs. So imagine there will be AI agents that autonomously, they're sitting there, let's say, for example, give a case so you might understand. We have a Google Ads audit agent. That agent wants to be able to go and call the Google Ads API autonomously. It says, okay, to help my team make decisions, I need to go and talk to this API. I need to talk to this API, pull information, and then pass that on to either my team directly or another agent. We're going to have this ecosystem where all of these agents need this information passed to them. So instead of just a human calling that API, we're going to have other agents calling that API. Yeah, I just think it's a strategically good move from Google. I mean, ultimately, small businesses need help. I mean, building tools like these previously, you would either need a very large agency with a great dev team. Maybe you're an in-house advertising team and you want to build your own internal tools. I spoke to, for example, a huge airline company, like globally recognized airline company, and they have some internal tools that their developers have built. But I think now there will be a lot more internal tools. Advertisers will be looking at this and going, wow, okay, we love Google Ads, but we need some really maybe like hyper specific internal tools that we think will help our team. So Google's saying, you know what? We have the infrastructure there, we have the technology. We want to help you. Like if you succeed with ads, that's a good thing. That's a win-win. So they're giving more tools available. Yeah, it is cool to see. And, small businesses as well. Small businesses will benefit because, agencies that work for small businesses are now going to have more power, more access to tools that they can help them drive efficiencies as well. And yeah, there's a big community element now too. There was a lot of people now like requesting API access. And, people are saying production is bottlenecked by API access. I think that's a big reason why they released the Explorer category, just to let people play around for free. But of course, if you're building a big tool that requires lots of access, you still need to go to Google and say, here's my concept for a tool. This is what we're developing. This is how it will actually help Google advertisers, because your tool needs to help, not hinder Google advertisers, and show that you're using it responsibly. So I'm going to show how can you actually connect AI to your Google Ads today. You can use an MCP. You can actually quite easily do this now just directly through Claude or ChatGPT, or you can have direct API access, which is honestly way more efficient. And it's really easy to set up. You just basically go, I don't want to talk about this in this video. You just go to you can actually just go to ChatGPT or Claude and say, hey, tell me how to set up API access with Google Ads. You do need a manager account though. If you have just an individual account, then your best bet is going to be the Google Ads MCP rather than API access directly. And the idea is you ask a question and you get the answer. So I'll just show you now a very quick example of that in action. Okay, so this is me sitting inside of Claude Code. I initially prompted it and said, listen, I want you to use the Google Ads API to investigate my Google Ads account because I want to explore wasteful keywords. Maybe there's some keywords that I should be negating. I want to be a little bit more efficient with my spend. Like, am I wasting budget on other areas? Obviously, this is important for advertisers because if you're wasting budget on keywords that will never convert, you're taking that budget away from other areas that could be generating you customers, which is what you want. I mean, you want your Google Ads to be efficient. You want to succeed so that you can invest and scale. That's the whole point. And if you're wasting lots of spend on, weak areas, obviously this is just one of many facets of Google Ads, but it's just not a good thing. So here you can actually see that I spoke to the API. It gave me some suggested keywords that I might want to negate. And it said, yes, if you want to, I can add these indirectly. I have write access to this account. Obviously, this is my own internal account. And it's saying, do you want me to go ahead and add all of them? Maybe just the 6, maybe a custom selection. So you can not only get reporting feedback from the API, but you can, if you want, make direct changes. Now, you do need to obviously be very, very careful with this. If you're typing things conversationally, like mistakes can happen. Of course, if you're clicking around in a dashboard, mistakes can also happen. But you just need to be careful. So yeah, I've been building some cool stuff with this internally. We have a client, an external client, Lemonade.io. They are an agency, growth marketing agency. This is their website here. But they're leveraging a lot of cool stuff with the Google Ads API now as well. So for example, they're generating reports. This is kind of in line with their branding style. They're generating reports where they have a skill built inside a Claude that says, hey, go and leverage the Google Ads API, find all the information you need from our account, and then help us to create an audit, a report that we can show our clients, because our clients demand this from us. It's saving time for the agency. It's allowing them to, communicate better with their clients, to instill more trust, obviously. It's just allowing them to do a lot of cool things that they never would have been able to do before without access to the Google Ads API, because it gives them all the knowledge they need. That's what the Google Ads API does. It allows them to pull in all the knowledge, and they can even feed it into a large language model like Gemini or Claude, and say, listen, help me make sense of this and help me turn it into a report that my clients can understand as well. So they're using it for, new client sales audits, wasted spend detection, lots of different little details as well. It's not just, the API is not just for developers building SaaS products. It's for agencies as well. I think agencies, even in-house big advertisers, like I mentioned before. So I think that's where the direction is going. A lot of stuff is buried in the UI. I mean, it's not necessarily that the Google Ads UI has a bad design. It's just that you can only fit so much information on one screen at a time. And for, the human brain to have to click through every single section of the Google Ads UI across potentially like 10, 20, 30 different client projects, if you're an agency, is difficult. That's the beauty of the API. You're pulling all of the information in, all the data in, and you're letting an AI model like help you analyze that data rather than just going page by page, kind of laboriously, because there's limited information, as I said, that you could fit on a single page. The competitive landscape, yeah. So Amazon Ads have added an official MCP server. Meta Ads do have unofficial MCP servers. Those are third-party MCP servers, but I saw something recently where like they've started banning tons of Meta accounts because advertisers were just like using the Meta Ads API to publish like tons of like low quality AI content. So yeah, there's no other advertising kind of company right now that are focused on this as much as Google. Yeah, like they're kind of doing the whole almost like build in public thing. Like they're making it AI agent ready, and they actually want to encourage people to build cool stuff. Like they've had this API sitting there for so long, and only, like I said, hardcore developers could have used it previously. Yeah, what doesn't work yet, obviously, like, AI can sometimes make mistakes. It's not insanely efficient, and you do have to like still build it yourself. You should be working with a developer if you're building a tool, and you need a manager account to get developer token. It's really, really easy to set that up and get going. This is a screen on security. So, I mean, it's Google. It's very, very secure, but obviously, you will have a developer token. If you're an agency, you're giving access potentially to, all of your client accounts. If you're building an internal AI tool, you want to have things like securely set up. You don't want to, I don't know, have some crazy leak in the system where maybe some disgruntled employees like really, really easily able to just type in a prompt which says, maximize budget and bids across every single one of our clients. I mean, Google, to be honest, has built-in restrictions on that stuff anyway, so that wouldn't happen. But you do have to be careful. You still have your responsibilities, and I would say always start as read only. If you're using these tools, just start using it on a reporting basis. It's read operations, not write operations. So you're just reading all of the data from your accounts, and you're helping to analyze a huge volume of that data. But yeah, they're making strides in this area. Obviously, this is something, security that everyone's concerned with. But yeah, they're making a lot of new monthly releases. There's going to be a cloud managed access to the API in the future, which I think is in pilot mode right now, but it's not released. That'll be really interesting. And they're obviously doing the whole agent to agent communication thing. You can get access in 50 minutes. Like if you have a manager account, go to ads.google.com, go to the API center. You have to do this annoying little part where you set up a cloud project, and you have to go through like OAuth credentials. This is for your own security. You need to go through this, and then you can connect it to like your favorite API if you're using Claude Code, like I do. That's where I use it. And then that's when the fun really starts. Then you can play around and see what's actually possible here. What cool tools can I build? Can I build repeatable skills? The world really is your oyster from that moment on. And we are, last but not least, we are trying to build something really based on the back of the Google Ads API for PPC.io, where we want to make it so that when you first come in, you can straight away have like pre-built skills and tools. So we're helping people to build tools that will I mean, you can build your own tools as well. So you can literally have your own audit tool that says, this is how I like to audit my own clients. Go and connect to the Google Ads API, pull in data, and create an audit in the style that you know I already like. So we're just giving agencies and in-house marketers as well the tools that they need to work with AI to connect their Google Ads accounts to data in a safe and secure, responsible way, and just a repeatable way that's can be done at scale. So that's what we're trying to do with our SaaS, which is going to be launched very soon. We're just making that side of things easier, and kind of we're just building on top of like the really amazing tools that we have available now. Everyone wants to be a builder, and this is kind of refreshing to see. Like even companies like Google have acknowledged this so early, and they want people to build as well. Like they've had this API sitting there for so long, and they're saying now, all right, like we want you to work with this. We want you to do cool things that are going to help you. Because it's in Google's best interest too. If people have tools at their disposal to help them scale advertising, improve performance, do more, like that's a win-win. So yeah, Google Ads API completely different in 2026 to where it was a few years ago. No longer is it the domain of just hardcore developers, but yeah, the doors are now open for builders anywhere to be able to do a lot more cool stuff. So yeah, I'm sure there will be more updates in the future, but this is the current state of the Google Ads API today.